fire, 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 fire.
60% of young men are single compared to only 34% of young women. And studies are showing that
Yeah, because women are the pickers. They've always been the pickers.
single straight males are practically lonelier than ever. But how can this be when we are in the most sexually open times in all of history? In the West,
Because nobody wants to have used goods. I'm sorry. Not sorry, not sorry. It's just how it is. No, I'm serious. It sucks. I've heard the stigma from many women who have gone on dates and said truthfully to the person that they're sitting across from, they'll ask him like, "Oh, how many ex-boyfriends did you have?" And they'll say 2. And then there's some people who just say, "Oh, I don't want to be with you because you've had 2 dicks in you." Some people think 2 dicks is a lot. Yeah. And that's your own prerogative and your own preference, okay? No, some people just don't like that, and that's okay. Let's make that 3. Oh, come on, man. 2 at the same time? No, not at the same time. Jesus, dude.
promiscuity has gone from being shunned to celebrated. We are seeing sex encouraged in every aspect of culture as these girls are brought up, indoctrinated into this you go girl feminism attitude. It's pretty funny how modern feminism's mantra was, don't view us as objects, and then they literally turn around and portray themselves as sex objects when
She's so hot. Oh my gosh, her boobies.
it benefits them. And it's not like men have just lost interest in women. In fact, men are more addicted to women than ever before, as we see sites like Hub and OnlyFans raking in hundreds of millions of dollars. And yet, regardless of all this, men are lonelier and more single, struggling to attract quality girls.
Because you're just training your brain to like view women as like something to just beat off to. No, those people that are addicted, they start to not view women as like humans anymore. Or not, I wouldn't say maybe not humans, but rather not to think of them as like a counterpart to pursue, and rather just a goon to them. I can't look at Amaranth anymore without thinking of vaginal yeast beer. Thanks for reminding us, man. Jesus.
And are either forced into or choosing to be celibate. Growing up, I had very mixed feelings towards girls. On one end, I was extremely addicted to porn.
That's my chat right now. That's my chat.
Pornography, which dramatically shifted my view of women, not only into seeing them as more sex objects, but also putting them on a pedestal as something that's hard to acquire and rare, as well as I had this addiction-based on top of any hormonal changes from puberty. But on the other hand, I had deep social anxiety. I lacked the traits that would make me masculine and attractive to these girls. And to be honest, I resented women just as much as I was obsessed with them, despite wanting to attract them.
Most people grow out of that, though. I understand it. Even before, I think that there's some sort of like, you know, not developed thing, but when you are rejected a lot during like middle school and high school, I think a lot of people develop a resentment, but then a lot of people grow out of it and also become more confident and they don't care as much.
I felt anger towards them. Anytime a girl would speak about their celebrity crushes or dating an upperclassman, the unrecognized and unrelenting frustration would result in me saying, "Oh, they're all," which was literally just a cop out to.
Yeah, but you're a kid. You just think that because you're upset that you don't have what you want. I get it. I totally get it.
Why I wasn't pulling as a skinny, insecure gamer nerd. I was like that meme of the beta kid that's like, why do women only like stupid jerks who treat them like shit? And it wasn't until...
I mean, I had that feeling too when I was younger, but I was a girl. It's just that in my last year of high school, I finally grew into like a non-ugly duckling. No, I really did have a moment like that. I had braces and I had acne. It was bad. I think a lot of people had this issue and then they finally grew up and they stopped having hormones raging through them. And I had braces, so I had that issue myself personally. Yeah. Yeah. It sounds adorable. Trust me, guys. I'm not kidding. Did you snort? No. What the frick?
Years of personal development that I was finally able to see the error in my ways. I now realize it's because those other guys portrayed masculine traits where
Yeah. But you're not confident. That's the problem. A lot of masculinity is from being confident and appearing like you don't care. You might care on the inside, but on the outside, you just don't. What did that say? Wait. Stop being ugly and became mid? Yeah, but being a mid woman is a lot better than being a mid guy. You gotta be honest about that. Yep. That's right.
I was thinking,
Oh, if I just act like the girls, they'll like me.
idiot. And the truth is that this is not in spite of the over-sexualization, social media, demasculinization of males, or hookup culture becoming the norm. It's because of it. We have entered a new age. The nuclear family culture that our great-grandparents grew up in is gone. Let's revisit that statistic I used in the intro. 60% of men under 30 are single, compared to only 34% of women under 30. That's our first clue, but on the surface, it kind of just reveals the obvious. Women like to date.
We watched another video where it said that the study was actually a really small sample size. I need to know if this is the same case, because like 60% out of like 40 or 50 people is not a lot.
Date older men typically. 56% of women say they prefer to date an older male, and I would argue that the other 44%, there are some in there that are just unaware of their subconscious.
Define older. What if you like someone that's like 2 or 3 years older than you? That's another little caveat, because men finish maturing later than women. So there is kind of like a little bit of a cognitive, like, you know, not misalignment, like misbalance. Yeah. Because I don't think there's anything wrong with dating someone that's like 2 or 3 years older than you if you're a girl. That's like, it's like kind of like the same mental age. And then it evens out as you get older. For some men and women never mature. No, I totally agree, but I meant like from a scientific perspective. Yes, men take a little bit longer.
Wiring to prefer that, and it's completely understandable. Men in their 30s are typically just more well-developed men. Their finances are typically better. They have much more responsibility, so they're much more mature and masculine compared to younger guys, as well as they have a decade of wisdom and experience on us that we just can't possess yet. But the thing is,
but that's scientific. I'll have to argue that a lot of men at around about age 25, suddenly their frontal cortex or cerebral cortex suddenly develops. They're like, maybe I shouldn't play video games for 8 hours a day. Yeah, prefrontal cortex. They suddenly are like, maybe I should start getting a job.
is that it's always been that way, so it doesn't really explain anything. Like I said, social media has allowed people instant communication regardless of location. And while it may seem like a good thing because it gives us guys more girls to talk to, what it's actually doing is exposing women to much more men that are the most financially successful, confident, masculine, attractive guys in the world. Therefore, for the first time in all of history, women now not only have access to the highest value men locally, but worldwide. Couple this with the ability to just easily advertise yourself through saucing up a couple bikini pics on the gram. And what further amplifies this, and we're starting to see a shift in some women from monogamy to hypergamy, meaning not only are these desirable women more and more opting to pursue these high status guys, but we're seeing these high status guys take on multiple women at once. Now, I don't want to give any false expectations. Obviously, monogamy is still the most common and tried and true. However, we are seeing a significant shift, especially with the more attractive women. And because a lot of these girls' egos are...
Well, yeah, I mean, again, I do have to preface this that in most mammals, women are the pickers. They pick the mate. Men present themselves. Like, you can see it in freaking birds. Birds dance, the male birds dance, and then if the female bird doesn't like it, then it's over. Yeah, like, birds aren't mammals, whatever, man. You get my point. Animals then, in general. Most.
So gassed up because of social media and feminism, we're seeing average women not at all willing to settle for an average guy. And this shift is upsetting a lot of men. Even in my own space of like male self-improvement, we're seeing a lot of guys with this red pill rage, where they learn the truth about women's nature and just the reality of the world, and they're like, women aren't Disney princesses that'll just cook my meals and give me head because I exist? And
If there's any women in my chat, you sort of have to start sucking, fucking, and cooking right now.
and they can manipulate us? I'm angry. Well, it's easy to get lost in this
Yeah, but if you give them head, you have to buy them a microwave or something, okay?
and just call women online, but then open another tab and jerk off to online with this mindset of, I want a woman that loves me for me and doesn't care if I'm fit, confident, masculine, successful.
Counter argument. They beat off in their rooms because it's instant gratification. Yeah, people, well, not, like, people have been jerking off since the dawn of time, right? Like, that, you can't not argue that. There's literally caveman murals from, 2000 BC, and people, beating off to, to boobies on, on a rock drawn on it with, charcoal or something, right? It's just that it's so prevalent and oversaturated and easy to access that the pursuit of, something as desirable as a mate has become increasingly less desirable, because why would I go get a job, go get fit, become good at this thing, overcome my fear of talking to women when I can just go bust a nut in 2 seconds, and then that feeling that I had 2 seconds ago that made me get up out of my chair and think about it is gone now. It's the same thing. I think women also have ease of access to that kind of thing, but women are not built like men, where they have this innate human biological desire, the testosterone that drives them to fight and do gladiator fighting and fight for glory and all that. Fight for the wambin.
Disciplined, someone that looks past all that. The only thing past all that is you being a bitch. And rational men will realize that a mindset like this will get them nowhere. As much as we don't want to admit it, a lot of these current issues are also the fault of men. Let's not forget how many blue-pilled guys were cheering on the feminism movement just because they thought they might get some. Yeah, feminism. Yeah, free the nipples, free the nipples. These new generations.
I don't think people are thinking that. I think that it was just women being well, shit, we had women getting the right to vote, and now we want sex work to be more accepted and to be safer. Which I would argue that doing OnlyFans is safer than walking the streets at night in skimpy clothing. I can't argue that, because it is quote-unquote safer than doing that in real life and getting addicted to drugs or getting killed or something like that. So I don't think that was 100% of all that. 100% of all the people that were saying this.
Of men are weaker than ever, taught that they should behave more feminine by overbearing mothers, their school teachers, and mainstream media. They're addicted to pornography, programming themselves to view women in a certain way and make them obsessed with sex. And at the same time, the pressure on young men to get girls, have sex, get laid is incredibly high, which makes sense. There's such a crisis in masculinity that
there's always been a pressure for men to get laid. I think that I'm pretty sure that anybody at a certain point, I'm pretty sure there's certain countries, I learned this from Kirsche, where they have, what is it called? A coming of age thing where they, do the deed with a donkey or something. Yeah, I learned that from Kirsche. That's been a thing forever.
Of course, one of the masculine traits of acquiring women is so pressured on. This, coupled with their porn-fried brains begging for any kind of sexual stimulant, has resulted in getting girls being the top priority for most kids. So not only are they not getting high-quality girls because they lack certain traits, but they are forgoing gaining those traits to chase those girls, which further expands the gap, and men start to get this scarcity mindset with women and sex, which is more unattractive to women. So why should the top women date these guys when they have the chance to access the best men in the world? And the truth is, they shouldn't. And the sooner you accept this reality, the sooner you can start working on becoming the type of guy that steals the top women from these bums. Prioritizing personal development.
You're not you're not stealing from those bums. You're just becoming something that women desire. Again, this goes back to like how women are the pickers, unfortunately. It's just biology.
Much higher than getting girls and getting laid for the foreseeable future. But keep in mind, you still have to develop confidence and social skills, so still
Just by the way, you don't have to be a big buff guy and be 6 foot to get a woman. You can just be confident and hilarious. Working on yourself to become a better mate? Yeah, like start like walking on a treadmill like for 20 minutes a day. For your health. Think of it this way. Not to get a woman, but for your health. So maybe like you're thinking and like by the time you're 35, you don't want to have heart problems, so you should do it for yourself. For me personally, I started streaming because I'm petrified of talking to people in real life. And it has become just a tiny little bit easier to like talk to people. I've become just a tiny little bit better at trying to have to do small talk with people that I don't want to talk to. It has gotten better. No, like just a tiny little bit. I still really don't like talking to people in real life, but whatever. That's not my point. No, but why women always gonna be the ones picking, bro? I want to pick too because biology. I'm sorry. It's kind of like how I need a gun to equalize a situation with a big scary man because I can't fend off like someone who weighs like 100 pounds more than me. Sorry. Unfortunately, I can't. I'm not God. I didn't do this. It is what it is. Just carry a gun. That's what I just said, you fucking dum-dum! Yeah, go yell at God.
Interact with people, talk to girls. But the reality is that most men that decide to take this path are going to forego casual dating and casual sex for the foreseeable future. And for those who decide to take that route, I want to let you know that you are not weird and you are not wrong for doing that. You are playing the game the way it's meant to be played. You are playing the long game, the delayed gratification. It's all going to come back. And keep in mind, if you don't go this route, if you want to be a bum, you're going to have to settle for the women who throughout their 20s were running amok, doing who knows what, trying to bag one of these high value guys or perceived high value guys. And now they're settling for you. And you have to deal with all of their past and all of their baggage. However,
no, you don't. You don't have to. Do not settle for someone who's willing to settle with you. You have to come to an agreement. Also, I think this guy brings up a lot of good points. It's just that I think he's going it through like a very like small, narrow lens, you know? You don't have to. My brother, for example, he went through 2 horrible breakups. I was there for them. I was the little sister. I had to deal with him being like, you know, oh, I freaking hate women. Why can't everyone be nice to me? I work out. I have a decent job. I have 2 degrees in school. I'm smart. He's smart. I work out, blah, blah. I had to deal with that for years until he just finally, like, found someone that he thought was good for him. And it worked out. He didn't go out looking for her. It just kind of happened. You gotta have hope in yourself, you know? He found her at... I think he was 35, chat. He found her at 35, and they got married at 36. So, yeah. Don't be, like, so fucking hard on yourself.
I also want to clarify that it's not like all girls now are running around being hoes and are just evil and manipulative. That is not the case whatsoever. But the reality is that these beautiful, good girls are in very high demand, especially now with social media where they are able to be found. So the first step has to be physical fitness. And while yes, you do become more visually appealing to girls, it also displays the hundreds of hours you put in the gym and the discipline it took to achieve that. And don't let them—
Oh, women don't care about that. They just look at it at face value. I'm sorry, I hate to burst your bubble. The low IQ women do not care about that shit. They just see that you're attractive and just expect you to stay attractive. It is not easy to maintain this kind of physique, like what he's got right here, like a six-pack, and not have to have like a really strict regimen of like diet and like discipline. If you just want to be a fit guy, women don't know the difference between like a fit guy that has like a big chest and like big muscles and like a guy that just like watches his weight and like works out like, you know, 4 times a week.
Is the hundreds of hours you put in the gym and the discipline it took to achieve that. And don't let the modern day fitness industry fool you. You do not need to look like an Olympian bodybuilder or a superhero from a movie, both of which are taking copious amounts of steroids to attract women. There's a certain line you reach where you have the base of looking fit, the confidence from it, and then everything else is built upon that. And next comes finances. Now let me be clear. You do not need to be some kind of crazy billionaire or multi-millionaire, because what matters way more than the exact number in your bank is the lifestyle that you portray. A guy who makes 100K a year, but—
Oh no, this is not the take I was gonna have. Hold on, I'm gonna lose my take, so I'm gonna say mine first. In my opinion, being consistent and being financially secure and not having really bad spending habits is more important for a woman than how much you make. Okay, I'm gonna let him talk.
Can travel, do as he pleases, portrays a much more attractive lifestyle compared to someone who makes 500K a year, but he works like a dog 80 hours a week and is a slave to his corporate overlords. Now, obviously, I know that gold diggers exist and we don't want to be viewed as just a walking piggy bank to steal from, but keep in mind that the reason this matters to most girls isn't because they want to manipulate you into giving them a Birkin bag, but because they want a capable partner and a good life, not only for themselves, but for their future children. And even if—
Well, that's what I'm saying, is that, like, if you have, say, you make $30,000 a year, but you save $5,000 to $10,000 a year because your spending is very rigid, it's a lot more important for a woman than having, you know, $500,000 and then you dump away $400,000 into nothing and then you have $100K. At least for smart women. For stupid women, I don't know. I can't speak. I'm not that stupid.
They say they don't want to have kids. There's plenty of subconscious drivers that still make that plenty attractive. And the rest of the equation is practically all the other aspects of self-development and becoming more masculine, which if you're interested in that, my channel's all about it. Consider subscribing. Also, be sure to resist the urge to cash out early. Don't get a little bit of abs and a little bit of money for some bottles and start clubbing 3 times a week in hopes of getting laid. The truly fulfilling life will come from building that equity for years, and then finally you'll get to a point where you just get to collect that sweet dividends. Guys, the times are changing and there will be a group of guys who just—
I don't think that you should be working on that for like getting a return. You should just be working it for yourself. Again, most people I've ever talked to and like the men that I've had in my life say things like that were to this effect always said, I didn't go out looking for that thing because I gave up. I was starting to think that I was gonna die alone, and then suddenly something fell in my lap. Happened to my brother. He said, I don't give a frick. I'm gonna go work out. I'm gonna go get an apprenticeship, and I found myself a lovely wife. If you want to go to Thailand and go find yourself a wife, do whatever you want. It's your prerogative as well. Same for women, by the way. If you've given up, you can just find something while you're working on yourself. Don't like give up fully.
Forfeit, don't want to play the game, don't care, video games, porn, OnlyFans, and there will be the guys who embrace the adversity, who will still build an impressive physique, try to raise their natural testosterone, try to be more masculine, try to be more confident, and those are going to be the winners, not only for getting the best girls or whatever, but for achieving fulfillment, achieving the best life you can. And it means you need to resist the siren calls of today's society. Resist the degeneracy, embrace the discipline, embrace the long-term rewards. And if you're wondering what are the 8 main ways to become more masculine, consider clicking this video on the screen right now. But that's all I got for you. I hope you found value in this video. I hope this video explained the current situation we are in. Thank you for watching this far to the end. It helps a lot with the algorithm and whatnot. Bye-bye.
I have gotten the impression that this man has some points. Again, like I said, it's just viewed through a narrow lens because of his own life experience. I'm just saying my opinion as a woman. I understand how this works from my perspective. I know how stupid women function. I am a stupid woman. What is the thumbnail with the legs? Oh, he's getting some puss, you know? Look at that! But this is also a really good guy. The guy that does these videos where it's like, you know, the 10, the 9, the 8, and how, like, the 10s only go for 10s. Because they have that option, and then the 5s get left with nothing. That's very common. Yeah, the whole math. Ho, ho, ho. You're not that stupid. Thanks, chat. Well, that's a nice thing to say, that you don't think I'm that stupid. I really have to view reality without a lens. Well, like, your own life experiences put that kind of stuff in, you know, like, if a guy gets rejected, like, 15 times by women calling him ugly, or that, like, they just don't have what they want, like, I'm not gonna be able to change their mind. Oh, yeah.